everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to make our tofu egg patty. First I'm going to start with the ingredients. So you're going to start with some firm or super firm tofu, some maple syrup, spicy brown mustard or Dijon mustard, whatever you have, some seasoned salt, a little bit of olive oil, and here I just have a bowl full of a bunch of different spices. We have some nutritional yeast, black pepper, salt, turmeric, and kala namak, which is also known as black salt. This is super important and gives it a really eggy flavor. Finally, you want some vegan cheese slices. We went with the Follow Your Heart American slices. So let's get started. First, you want to preheat your oven to 375. Then you want to cut your tofu lengthwise. Cut this into 4 even strips. As even as possible, you want them to cook evenly. First, you want to make sure that all the water is pressed out. With a super firm brand like this, where it's not really packed in water, it's a lot easier to get all the water out of it, and I find that it really holds up much better for this recipe. So if you can find that, I recommend it. Then what you want to do is start adding some of the wet ingredients to the spices that we have. I'm going to start with probably about a teaspoon of mustard, and then go in with about a tablespoon, I'd say, of the maple syrup. You really can just play around with this, add a little more maple syrup if you want it sweeter, a little more mustard if you want it a little tangier. The first time that I made this, I actually used a lot of oil, so I wouldn't recommend that personally. I just did about a teaspoon here. And then you just want to mix it up. You'll find when you start mixing it up that you probably want to add a little bit more ingredients to get it the right consistency. But overall, you don't want it to be too thick, you don't want it to be too thin. You want to make sure that it's a consistency that will stick really nicely to the tofu and not be too watery. So this is a consistency that seems to work really well. And again, just play around with the ingredients. There's no exact measurements here. Once you have it the consistency that you want, you can go ahead and start applying it to the tofu. So you can see I'm just using a brush here and just sort of spreading it out along the top and along all of the sides. The more you put on, obviously, the more flavorful it's going to be, so you can use as much or as little as you want. Once you've done the whole side, go ahead and put it on your baking tray, and then you'll be able to get the other side. So this is all 4 of them here. The last step that you want to do before you throw it in the oven is I like to put a little bit of seasoned salt on each side. This just helps really kind of amp up the flavor a little bit, and I like how it tastes. So I just put a little bit on each side before we put it in the oven. So go ahead and put it in the oven, and we set the timer for 15 minutes. Once the 15 minutes is up, go ahead and take your tofu out of the oven. At this point, you'll want to use a spatula of some kind to flip them over. They're a little wet, so it can be a little challenging if you use parchment paper, but just go ahead and flip them over. And then again, what you want to do on the other side is just do a little dusting of the seasoned salt again before you put them back into the oven. And again, 15 minutes on the other side. That works really well. At the end of the 15 minutes, go ahead and pull that out of the oven, and this is where we added the cheese. So again, we used the Follow Your Heart American slices, and you just put a slice on each top. Put those back into the oven for just a few minutes. I think I did like 3 or 4 minutes once I added the cheese on. It melts fairly quickly, and again, depends on the type of cheese that you have. So here we are just making a sandwich with it. You can see we're using some vegan butter here. This brand is awesome. It's a coconut oil based butter. We actually did make some rice paper bacon on this day as well to add to our sandwiches. So if that's a recipe that you'd be interested in, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below, and we can definitely do that for a future video. So at this point we're just making the sandwich. So put a little rice paper bacon on, and then you want to go ahead and add your tofu egg patty at this point. And there you go. You have an amazing, awesome breakfast sandwich, all vegan. There's the tofu egg patty, you guys. If you have any questions about the recipe or if you need any tips and tricks, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, share, and subscribe. We're also on Instagram at VegVan Family, and we also have a vegan food page at Satan's Rejects. And we will talk to you guys soon. Bye.